All right, here we go. Got it live. Haven't done one of these in ages, and as is, totally new platform. Trying something new out. Uh, Gonna jump on here today and get back to a little streaming, answering questions live. Uh, I actually just got accepted on LinkedIn Live recently, and so this should now be streaming out to LinkedIn as well. And yeah, going to answer some questions, whether it's YouTube, LinkedIn, or what was the third one? Why? Oh, Facebook Live. That's right. Haven't been on Facebook a while either, but we're back now. And one of the things I want to definitely bring up before answering any questions you have, feel free to put them in the comments below, is there is something that I don't think it's talked about enough at this time of year, and that is that we're in that last little stretch of an extremely hot market. I'd say hot as it's going to be the rest of the year, right? We're in September and it's about to be October in a couple weeks. And then before you know it, here's November, and all of a sudden Thanksgiving's around the corner, Black Friday, and all these things that are going to go on where you start to think about your family. You start to think about time off. And if you're searching for a job, you don't want to I'm thinking about time off, but it's the truth. It becomes a vacation, or becomes a time where a lot of people take vacation, and families are going to get together over Christmas. And part of the problem, what I'm starting to illustrate, is not a lot of people are going to be working. And one of the things that I don't think is getting talked about enough right now is you have 60 good days left of job hunting. And if you don't take them extremely seriously, time's going to pass you by and the holiday season is going to get here. And thinking about getting a job before the end of the year is no longer something you're going to be able to do if you don't pay attention to what's going on right now in front of you. Something else I have to illustrate in this and why I want to bring it up today, and feel free to leave any comments or questions you want answered today in the stream, is that companies, not only are their workers, employees going on vacation, but budgets, fiscal year, when does it end, right? A lot of companies close off budgets in October, November. And what do? Well, they shut them down and they reevaluate budgets for next year. When do those generally get approved? And I'll say this, not during Christmas. They get approved generally in the new year, sometime around early January. But I've had this exact experience before where early January is great, but just because they get approved in early January doesn't mean I get the funds or the recs opened until about February. Because trust me, I've tried to hire before in January, and I've run into brick wall after brick wall that I've had to run through. And so it is paramount between the companies and the time off you want to take, or your family and friends want to take. It's extremely important for you to take these next 60 days extremely seriously in the job hunt. And this is where I don't think enough people are talking about this. So now I've kind of illustrated my point, and I'm hoping I'm making sense out there to you. But this is where I've illustrated my point. Next 60 days is a really hot market. Well, the hottest is going to be the rest of the year. So what can you be doing? Well, for one, I'm actually going to release a webinar I have coming up soon. But two, I have a couple videos actually I've been putting out too on that. But what you can do today is physically ask me questions down below if you have any about anything you're struggling with, particular situation. Hell, if you want me to review a resume, that'd be great. Love to do that. At the same time, I'll just keep rambling on about things that I'm interested in that I know have been helping people lately. So what can you do? That's going to be a big question coming up. I physically putting together a webinar that'll help you get to exactly what you want by the end of the year. That's going to take a lot of hard work and effort. But I'd say one of the first things you can always do is kind of look at the data and look and see what's going on your profile. Prime example, LinkedIn. On LinkedIn, there is a really great, and I'll share my screen now. There is a really great, easy way to kind of gauge what is your resume doing? Let me show you what I mean. If I share my screen over here, you're going to notice right here that this is my LinkedIn/me/search appearances. This is a really easy way to gauge kind of where you're at and what you've been experiencing. If you have been feeling kind of neglected in the job hunt of like people not paying enough attention to you, companies not giving you the time of day, recruiters ghosting you, kind of things of that nature, then this is definitely a really good exercise for you to do right now. Because what happens here is LinkedIn gets paid a lot of money to hand you over to the right people at the right time. And that's why recruiters and companies and organizations pay a lot of money to be on LinkedIn. This is what they do. This is what they're good at. So when we look at our search appearances and what's been happening, this is really a great indication on what LinkedIn thinks of us. And so if you've been struggling, this is generally a really easy place to come and look, because yes, I have different audiences than you will have. Like, I purposely want to go towards software developers, but you should be going to about a 30 to 50% mix of recruiters and about a 20 to 30% software engineers. And the other generally 30, 40, maybe even 20% can kind of be geared towards a lot of different things. It's very hit or miss on the other percent, but I like to see about 50% of your audience geared towards what you want most. And this is just the start. What else they think about us is really important is the keywords you see down here. Now, software engineer is great. These are the titles. These are the words that we're being found for. And this is good for me. Like, I'm very happy with this for myself. I've worked very hard on getting this dialed in right here. Granted, you see me as Coding Career Fastlane, so I'm purposely going for things like this. But from your case, when you go to look at this right now, I've seen things before. Like, I'll tell you a quick story in this keyword search that no one realized until they looked here and realized, why am I getting senior? And this was actually a student about 9 months, maybe even a year ago now. Wow, it's been a while. They were a server in their past job, and they actually were one of the head servers. They did a lot of good things, so we put it on their resume. What's interesting, though, is they were the senior lead server or lead senior server. Yeah, I forget the exact combination, but to you and I, that's just a waiter that happened to be the lead of all the waiters and was the main waiter or waitress, however you want to call it. But in this case, he was a waiter. And what's interesting to you and I, that's a server. But to LinkedIn, come to find out when we reviewed the data, he was a senior engineer and a lead engineer in their eyes, because on a majority of his profile, we were selling engineer. On the rest of his profile, we were selling that, well, mainly engineer, but on the one other part of his profile / resume, he was selling that he was a senior lead server. And so his keywords were all messed up. But up until that point we had checked, he had gotten a huge increase in recruiters reaching out to him. But this huge increase came with everyone asking for senior positions. When we reviewed this data, though, we were able to fix it and really dial in his data to help him understand what can he change to get rid of these senior engineers and what do people think of him. Now, I gave you the percentages earlier. The percentages are very important because they're going to be really helpful to helping you understand where you're at and what you need to go towards. Other tidbits until I get some more comments or questions in there, and feel free to ask any questions you may have or may want to know more about down below. But something that's really interesting about the percentages of what the searchers do is this is a very changeable number. What I mean by very changeable is it actually is pretty easy to, I guess you could say, manipulate by who you connect with. Now, most people don't connect with enough people on a daily basis in my eyes. I like to see a lot of connections that go out I like to see a lot of connections. I like to see at least 100 generally a day, and spread out throughout the day. Based on who you're connecting with, you can change this number. Now, why is this important? Well, if you can connect with, for the next 2 weeks, 100 recruiters a day, your number, based on what searchers will do, will change as well, because as you connect with more recruiters, recruiters will come to your page. And inherently, like based on you connecting, 1 out of 10 might come, and it might even just be for a second. But to LinkedIn, there are more recruiters coming to your page. And so what they do in turn is recommend you to a couple more recruiters. Your percentage will go up. And more than likely at the top, your number will go up. And so that is a really easy way, is just connecting with people. Now there's a whole nother insight into this of the type of content you create, who you engage with, the groups you join. There's some other stuff that goes into this that really helps out. But this is one little trick and tip that you can utilize to get some more recruiters in that are searching for you. Because once you have the numbers in your favor and you post content and you engage and you do more stuff on the platform, LinkedIn will reward you. And so if you have your resume dialed in, if you start connecting with more people like this, and if you use keywords and you've really dialed in the resume so the keywords get fixed, when they start recommending you, they're going to recommend you for all the things you want. This is basically a form of search engine optimization for LinkedIn. Now, I have a whole lesson. I actually did a course once. Actually, I still have it, I think, up. But nonetheless, did a whole course on LinkedIn once, and this was one of the things that I talked heavily about: search engine optimization. And this isn't search, this is more of resume optimization in here we're talking through. But interestingly enough, you can actually do LinkedIn search engine optimization and get really in depth with kind of competitive analysis. It's really interesting stuff, to be honest. But I'll leave this here for the moment, and I will leave the kind of auditing your resume like this, put this down, leave it right at that, and hell, what do we want to talk about next? One of the hard parts I'm realizing very quickly of coming back and doing a live stream after not doing it for so long is the attendance live when you do this is not always as great as one would hope. And that's okay. We'll get back to doing these more regularly. But what I want to do then right now is talk through one other thing that I had been covering recently that I think is very beneficial for you to know and do, and that is searches. When we think about searches, we should think about some advanced searches on LinkedIn. One of the biggest problems I hear lately, especially meeting with people one-on-one, is not finding quality of jobs, spending a lot of time searching and getting nothing back. And that has to do more often than not with LinkedIn's terrible data. I say terrible because a lot of jobs post terrible stuff, take them up, take them down, and then ultimately kind of you spin around going in circles and circles searching for these things when really out of the 100 jobs you went through, really if you had had a better search query, you would only have to go through the 10 that mattered most. And so what I mean by that is, and I'll paste this because I realize, aha, there we go. You can see it a little bit here. So advanced search queries or Boolean searches in LinkedIn are extremely beneficial to you. And I actually made a YouTube short on this the other day. I do believe I reposted it on LinkedIn as well. But this searching, where you do the all uppercase and or all uppercase or, and with some parentheses, you can really get fancy with this. And I'm actually going to put this in the URL because I can tell the overlay is messing with it. Let me take that off and let me see if I can get, I'll just turn the overlay off. Let's turn that off for a second, hide it. All right, so Yeah, let's just hit enter, and this will probably take us to, nope, that didn't. Yeah, well, whatever. I'll come right back to here. Basically, you can formulate junior all quotes. When you do that, you are forcing it that it has to have the word junior in the job description or in the title. And when you use the all uppercase and, what you're going to notice is then the next thing has to match the previous one. But because I wrapped them in parentheses, you can then say software engineer or full stack engineer. Or, you see where I'm going with this? Basically, you can pick a bunch of job titles or things you like, close the wrap. Then you can come into and not. Here's the last little thing in the Boolean searches. You can use all uppercase not, and something will not fit that. Not a senior, or not a senior as an SR, not a mid-level. And I use mid because I actually found that in jobs before. And then lastly, not an intern. And when you wrap this all together, you can find junior software engineering positions that are all in one search and really help refine what you're looking for instantaneously. Now, what's really interesting about this is this isn't all this is good for. You can use this even more. You can search for people. So if you search a recruiter and we're hiring. Now, we're going to have to make sure we go into the People's tab. And inside the People's tab, what you're going to notice is you can see recruiters that are we're hiring, and you notice right off the bat, we're hiring. Well, hell, this is too far out. Let's make sure we find people in our area. Boston, there's probably going to be about 50. That's when this works really well. Oh, right. There's one other thing I do. I do technical recruiter. Why all of a sudden today is it finding? Oh, you know why? Because I probably picked the greater part of Boston. Technical recruiter, and we're hiring. And when you do a search like this, you can find people to reach out to that are hiring right away. And so it's a really easy technique, and it gets you in front of people especially if you haven't been finding people to talk to. Really great way to talk to people. What I find recently has happened when I posted this, I did a YouTube short, and I think I did a LinkedIn post as well, is some people came back and said, okay, well, talking to recruiters is a waste of time, or useless, cool, but useless information. I wouldn't agree with that, because if you've been in the job hunt and struggling to gain traction, then this is a really easy way to find people that are eager to talk. Now, is it to say that all of them have junior engineering positions open? No, but more than likely, they knew somebody who does. And even then, these are 315 leads that are going to talk to you, compared to if you go do 315 applications where a majority of people will never talk back. At the same time, when we think about quality networking and actually putting yourself out there in a way that gets the proper attention you're looking for, this is one of the key pieces of networking properly, is getting out there and talking to recruiters. Now, I'm not talking about messaging strategy today. I'm not talking about what you need to go say, how you start the conversation, how you hold the conversation, how you ask for a call to action. I'm not covering that today. I'm just saying these are how you identify the people and how they can be an important part of the process. And because the aspect of messaging and getting into cold emails and reaching out to people can be harder. I wouldn't disagree with that. It is very hard. But nonetheless, this is two ways to use Boolean searches, whether it's for jobs or for recruiters and ones that are searching. And it's a really great way to utilize this. And all right, I'll stop screen sharing on that now, bring the overlay back. And I'm going to leave it at there today. It was nice to get back online. I can't wait till this gets a little more traction again, because one of my favorite things to do is to answer questions for people live. And sometimes what I found is, especially in the recent year, webinars were great. Going to host one again soon. And that was a great way for me to get in front of people live, answer a bunch of questions, and help the industry out. And playing those out sometimes is harder compared to jumping on, when I've got time like this on a weekday, is definitely easier to talk with y'all. So remember, in the future, if you got questions, or even if you got questions now before I sign off, feel free to leave a question down below. I'm gonna be doing more of these to help y'all out, to answer stuff on the spot. So if you're watching this recording or you're seeing something where I'm on live again, come ready with your resume. Come ready with questions. I am more than happy to answer them and to help y'all out in any way I can on these streams. You should expect to see a couple more out of me the rest of this week for sure, along with some more YouTube shorts, along with the new webinar that's going to be coming out in about a week from now. Yeah, you should see some promotion on that soon. So I'm pretty excited about that. But have a great rest of your day. I will see y'all again soon. And until next time, we'll see y'all later.